Ever feel like you're just stretched thin, running on fumes? You know that feeling, where just one more email, one more notification might push you right over the edge. Well, if that sounds familiar, you are definitely not alone. So let's get into it. Let's talk about what's really happening when we feel completely and totally overwhelmed. Okay, first things first. Let's get one thing straight. This feeling, it's not a character flaw. It's not some sign that you're weak or you can't handle things. It is a biological signal. Think of it like the little warning light on your car's dashboard. It's just your body's way of saying, hey, the load we're carrying has gotten way too heavy for way too long. So what even is overwhelm, really? The best way to think about it is to picture your mind and your body as a battery. Every task, every little worry, every single decision you make, it all drains a little bit of that power. Overwhelm is what happens when you're just constantly draining that battery without ever plugging it back in to recharge. It all comes down to a simple but pretty brutal equation. Too much demand and not nearly enough recovery. And that demand, it comes from everywhere, doesn't it? You've got that high-stakes project at work, then there are the sleepless nights, you've got the endless pinging from our phones, the pressure of caring for family, all the money worries, our own health. It just adds up, layer by layer until that weight feels absolutely crushing.
But here's the really tricky part. It's not just all those external pressures. A lot of the time, we fall into these habits that create a loop, a cycle that actually feeds itself. It's this overwhelm loop that keeps us stuck, no matter how hard we try to get out.
So what does this loop actually look like in real life? Why does it feel so impossible to stop, even when we know deep down that we're burning out? Let's break down the mechanics that keep us trapped in it. Okay, so it usually starts with overcommitting. That sneaky yes that slips out when we're screaming no on the inside. So to try and compensate, we start skipping breaks, telling ourselves, I'll just push through, I'll rest later. When that exhaustion inevitably hits, we reach for the coffee or that sugary snack for a quick temporary jolt. And then finally, when the to-do list becomes this huge monster, we start to avoid it, which of course only makes the tasks pile up and feel even bigger and more stressful. Does any of that sound familiar? So yeah, that's the trap. But here's the good news, and there is good news. You do not have to stay stuck in it. There is a way out. So let's shift gears and look at the actual skills that can take you from just surviving day to day to actually thriving. And this is where we need a really crucial mindset shift. The goal here isn't to live a stress-free life. Let's be real, that's impossible. The real goal is to build the skills to manage stress, to handle it effectively so that it no longer runs your life. It's all about building your capacity to handle life's challenges without completely burning out. And these skills, they're built on 4 really powerful pillars. First up is learning to regulate your nervous system, basically how to calm your body's fight or flight response. Second, we have prioritization, and I mean ruthlessly prioritizing what truly matters. Third, setting clear boundaries to protect your time and your energy. And fourth, building intentional recovery routines. These 4 are the real foundations of resilience. Now, building those skills is a journey, for sure. But you can absolutely start right now, today. So let's put together a kind of mental first aid kit with some simple, powerful tools you can pull out the moment you feel that wave of overwhelm starting to rise. These first 2 are for those moments, the ones, when your heart is pounding, your thoughts are racing, and you just can't think straight. They're designed to hit the brakes on that stress response and bring you back to a state of calm, right in the moment. The first one is called box breathing. It's so simple and so effective. You just breathe in through your nose for a count of 4, you hold it for 4, you breathe out through your mouth for 4, and then you hold at the bottom for 4. That's it. Repeating this just a few times sends a direct signal to your brain that says, hey, you're safe. It's okay to power down the alarm. Okay, the second technique is called 3-2-1 grounding. This one is all about pulling you out of that mental spiral of what-ifs. When your mind is just spinning, you simply, wherever you are, name 3 things you can see. Then name 2 things you can physically feel, like your feet on the floor or the texture of your shirt. And finally, name 1 thing you can hear. It's like an instant reset button for a racing mind.
Okay, so once you've calmed your system down a bit, it's time to shift from playing defense to playing offense. These next 2 tools are all about tackling the source of the overwhelm, the workload itself.
This one is called the weekly load audit. It's so simple. Once a week, just take a few minutes to list out every single thing on your plate. Work, home, everything.
Then you go through that list item by item and you ask, can this be eliminated completely? Can I delegate it? Or can it just be delayed? This process is how you start to actively take back control of your schedule instead of letting it control you.
Next up is the two-list rule, and this is a game changer for that daily where do I even start feeling. Every morning, create one list with just 3 and only 3 absolute must-do items for the day. Everything else, it goes on a second can-wait list. This creates incredible focus and clarity, it helps you build momentum, and it stops you from feeling totally crushed by some endless, impossible to-do list.
Now, these tools are powerful. They really are. But it's also so important to recognize that sometimes self-help just isn't enough. And knowing when you need a higher level of support, that's a huge sign of strength, not failure.
So how do you know? How do you know when you've crossed that line from just being stressed to something more serious? When is it time to reach out to a doctor or a mental health professional? Okay, you'll want to pay really close attention to these red flags. If you're having frequent panic-like symptoms, or physical signs like chest pain or dizziness, or you just find you're unable to function with your basic daily tasks, it's absolutely time to get support. Also, using substances to cope, or really any other medical sign that just feels off to you, those are all crucial indicators. And please hear this, your health, both mental and physical, is completely non-negotiable. These signals are your body's way of screaming for help. Taking them seriously and getting professional support is one of the most important and courageous things you can ever do for yourself. And I really want to leave you with this hopeful reminder. Your body and your mind, they have this incredible natural capacity for recovery. They are literally built to reset. All we have to do is learn the skills to give them the chance to do their job. So I'll leave you with this question to think about. Looking at everything we just talked about, from a simple breathing exercise to reorganizing your to-do list, what is one small step, just one thing, that you can take today to start recharging your battery?